Whether you've still got projects to work on before the year ends or you're already ready to wrap up and hibernate until next year, I believe there's still plenty of time and space to increase your sales this year. Here are my 5 very simple steps to do just that, all while honoring your needs and energy. Welcome to the Soulful Sales Show, where we talk about believing in the value of your offers, getting them in front of your right people, and selling more of what you do in your unique way. Welcome back to episode 6 of the Soulful Sales Show. So from the title of this episode, and if you are listening to this at the time of the original release, which is the start of December, you might think that I'm about to sit here and give you a pep talk about getting more done and achieving more before the year is out. But that is not quite what I'm here to say. The thing is, I absolutely do believe you can end the year strong if that is right for you. You can also end the year soft if that is right for you. And actually, you can do both. Whatever it is that you need, you can give that to yourself. What I am here to say today is that no matter whether you are working hard to complete things, you're feeling good about that, or you've already basically stopped working for the year, I want you to stay open to the fact that anything can still happen this year and that the year isn't over yet, no matter what your energy. You can still increase your sales, you can still call in new clients, you can still grow your business, whatever it is that you want, as long as you are open to it. And P.S., even if you're listening to this at a different time of year, this applies to any time of the year, really, especially times where you might be winding down, working less, getting ready to take time off, or even, that mindset you get where you're raring to go and believing in everything at the start of the month, but by the end of the month, you find it all impossible. It even applies to that as well. So let's dive into it. I believe that you can honor your exact energy right now, wherever that is. You can wind down, you can ramp up, you can take time off, and you can still be open to more sales. Because at the time of releasing this, we still have almost a 12th of the year left to go. So I'm going to take you through my 5 steps. Don't worry, there's not loads of things to do. They're more reflection steps. So the first thing I want you to do is to check in with what you believe about your sales right now. If it helps, and I highly encourage this, get out a journal and ask yourself these questions. What do I believe about sales that are or aren't coming for the rest of this month? Is it even possible to increase my sales right now? Or am I just resigned to it not happening at all? What do I believe about what is or isn't required of me to make sales? So what do I think I need to do to make these sales happen? Do I think I need to push and do all the things? And does that feel really, really tiring right now? And where is my energy? Do I feel like pushing more, being more visible, or do I feel the need to retreat a bit? There is no right or wrong, no matter what internet arguments people tend to get into at this time of year about ending it soft or strong. We're all on our own unique energy cycle. So some of us benefit from ending it strong, some of us need to end it soft. So the next step, I want you to ask yourself the question, based on the answers you came up with in the first step, what else could be true? So if you think that sales are impossible right now, that, there's no way you're going to bring any more in this year, what else could be true? Are there any other ways that sales could come in that might totally surprise you? Out of the blue, unexpected, easy sales. Write that stuff down. And if you reflected and realized that you have this thought going around that you think that to increase your sales this month is going to take a lot of extra work, what else could be true? What could you let go of? What is your path of least resistance to showing up? Or what could you reuse and repurpose when it comes to older content to make this easier for you? So at this point, I also want to add that you can be tired, you can be low energy, and you can still make sales from that energy. There's so much talk about, improving your energy, improving your vibe and all that stuff. You can make sales when you are low energy. It's an absolute fact. As someone who lives with chronic fatigue and does not feel high vibe and charismatic a lot of the time, this is something I have personally had to learn again and again. And I will talk about this more in a future podcast episode, but just a quick tip. My biggest hack for when I feel tired and still want to show up as available to new clients is just to tune into my heart. just to take a breath, tune into my heart and write from that place, to be honest, open, and to trust what comes to me intuitively. Instead of trying to force the most strategic thing that I could say, I share from the place of least resistance, speak from the heart, and I often get great feedback about that. So yeah, just a quick side note about the energy stuff there. So point number 3, what is your plan for making more sales this month? Or could you play with different ways to make more sales this month instead? So there's a lot of pressure at this time of year to wrap things up neatly, to do all the reviewing and then the planning for next year. If that feels great for you, and if you are in that energy, absolutely great. But if not, that is okay. So personally, I don't do all the planning at this time of year. It's such a busy time already. I have so much more headspace come January. So what I do is I make a plan to plan. So I set a date in January that I can go out, away from my house, away from my hometown, go somewhere completely different for a change of scenery, and have what I call a business meeting with myself. So that is what I do. And by the way, I do have something coming about this process if you are interested in following it. So instead of doing all of the planning, and by the way, I should say here, like if you are feeling a lot of pressure, like I should be doing the planning, I should be doing the reviewing, this is a sign that you probably need to lighten up a bit. And the way that I lighten up a bit and let go of some of these shoulds is to ask myself, how can I play instead? So by play, I mean, and I'll share a bit more in the next step about the kind of mindset thing that I mean around playing. But I mean, like, how can I play with different ideas? Like, oh, I could try this, I could try this. I'm not going to say I have to try this stuff, but I'm allowing myself to play with the ideas. So here are a few kind of prompts to help you play with your own ideas for this month, if you don't already have a plan of what you are selling and how you are bringing in clients and income this month. So when it comes to what you are selling, can you pre-sell a January offer now? So if you're listening to this at any other time of year, can you pre-sell an upcoming offer now? Such a powerful way to increase your sales at this time of year with barely any extra work. I have done this in a way where I don't even have a full sales page. I'm just really pre-selling the offer, and then come January, I'll have all the proper information about it. Really, really great way for me to play with bringing in more clients and money without all the extra work. You could also sell gift vouchers or credit that people can use next year. You could make a really low-key offer just to past clients or specific people who've done a certain program with you. You could create a bundle offer or a flash sale. All of these things don't require you creating new things, but allow you to show up and sell something before the year is out. And in terms of how you actually show up and sell it, can you play with scheduling loads of emails or social media posts in advance so that they are done and you don't actually have to be around and show up while you're launching? Can you play with repurposing content to make it easier for yourself? Can you play with crowdsourcing your content or collaborating with other people to get your content? And can you also just use that trick I mentioned in the last step, tune into your heart and tune into how, okay, if I'm feeling a certain way, how is my audience feeling that way? And just speak from the heart about that thing. And then finally, step 4, no, not finally, there are 5 steps. Step 4, in the spirit of play, I also want to encourage some magical thinking. So this is something that I have to remind myself of every single year when I start getting tired, when I start thinking, that's it, I have no more ways to bring in clients this year, I'm done. Or potentially I'm focusing too much on all the things I still have to do before the year ends. And that is to allow in some magical thinking. So I mentioned this in passing earlier, but how many of you can relate to the feeling of possibility and openness that you have at the start of the month? Like anything is possible, right? It's this blank canvas of a new month. And then maybe as early as mid-month, you haven't hit your goal yet. You might start to stress. You might start to think, oh, this isn't adding up yet. Things might feel a lot more pressured. You start trying to control it. You start trying to think, okay, I need to make this exact amount of sales from this exact offer, or it's just not going to happen. Or worse, you let go of the goal altogether because it's just too much. It's just not going to happen. I mean, all of that can happen in the cycle of a month. We forget that it is possible to make more sales and make more income even in the last day of the month. That is absolutely possible, to make all of the sales and the income in the very last day of the month than we may have made the entire month up to that. But it takes us to stay open to the possibility to shift the energy and change the actions that we're taking. It's a really protective behavior that we let go of our goals. It helps to keep us from being disappointed, from failing, because we've already decided that we're failing. We've already planned the disappointment in advance so that we're not going to be hit with it by surprise. And in order to protect us, our brain will tell us, I know exactly where your money is coming from. I know exactly how you can or can't make money and get clients in. And that's that. But staying open to the possibility that is still available changes how we show up. It changes our energy, it changes our actions, it changes the words we say, it changes the way we say them, which is why at this time of year, I think that the magical thinking is all the more important. So the best question I find for your journaling and reflections starts with, I wonder what could happen. I wonder what could happen in December. I wonder what could still happen this year. And if you want to get more specific, you can ask yourselves questions like, I wonder what would be the easiest way to make money in December. I wonder what would be the easiest way to invite more people into my world without creating something new. I wonder what would feel right for me in alignment with my energy and still give me the spaciousness I want to be able to enjoy the festive period. And even if I'm ready to stop for the year or wish that the year was over, I wonder how I can make money anyway. I wonder how I can make money and make sales and honor my desire to rest right now. I wonder what could happen in my business. Such powerful questions. It takes us from a full stop and a dead end in terms of our thinking and opens it right up. And with these questions, we get to remind ourselves that clients can drop out of nowhere on the 31st of December, can drop out of nowhere. A funnel sale can happen out of nowhere. Maybe if you're celebrating Christmas, a funnel sale happens on Christmas Day, but you're nowhere near your emails. How fun. You could get an opportunity that you can't even imagine what that might be. Someone might get in touch now, ready for something in January. None of this stuff necessarily even requires any extra work from you, but it can totally change the energy in which you're showing up from if you are open to it. And I will say that some of these questions are easier to ask yourself when you have a kind of ecosystem in your business that does support sales out of nowhere and clients out of the blue. And if you don't have that yet, it is something you can plan to work on next year. I have a whole course about it called The Ecosystem. But most of us will have at least something, even just one offer that could potentially sell out of the blue right now. Or at least one low hanging fruit idea, like making an offer to a past client. We just tend to forget that it's possible. Okay, so step 5 is to just take this thinking with you throughout the year. This shouldn't just be limited to the end of the year. It is something that entrepreneurs, we need to come back to this stuff again and again. Entrepreneurs like us are doing something different. A lot of us are working online and doing things that we haven't seen loads of other people do, at least not for long. A lot of the work that we do is still so new. And so many of us are basing what is possible for our future by what has happened to us in our past. But if I have learned anything from 15 years of running my own business and working for myself, it's that things can change quickly. Things can change at any moment, and things can change in a way that as much as we tried to, we just couldn't have predicted. So maybe even now you can just pause for a moment. Maybe you can think of a time where you were surprised, when things did change really quickly. Can you think of a time where it did feel quite magical, or that sales came in out of nowhere, or something totally surprising and unexpected and magical happened in your personal life outside of your business that you didn't think was possible for you? I know that I have examples when I stop and look for them. And it's such a helpful reminder that this time of year and all the time, honestly, just to encourage me to play a bit, encourage me to get a bit bigger. The only way we actually get to expand and do things that we didn't know were possible is to imagine them first and to play with them first. And then we will be surprised when our life and business takes us in directions that we hadn't even imagined yet as well. So the bottom line for this episode, What can you sell right now that requires less energy? What do you already have out there that could just sell if you are open to it? What might you do if you allowed yourself to show up in whatever energy you are in right now? And can you play with that question? I wonder what could happen this month. Where can you make space for some magic and possibility? And the great news is that I actually have a free workshop coming up about this. It is the 3rd annual Play with Possibility workshop. It has had rave reviews from people who have done it in previous years. Already this year, I have had people telling me how excited they are for the new and upgraded 2023 version. So get your free ticket at playwithpossibility.com. That's all one word, playwithpossibility.com. Make sure you do it as soon as possible because it's a very limited replay. The live session is going to happen on Monday, the 18th of December, and it goes away on the Friday, the 22nd. By the way, Play with Possibility is not about all the planning. If you're not feeling the planning yet, come and play instead. I want to encourage you to get into this magical thinking, to go big, to get a bit wacky, to let your imagination go to all kinds of places to see what comes up for you. And like I said, also be on the lookout for my process that's going to help you have that business meeting with yourself. That is coming up soon as well. Or if you want to work together in January, I have a space for a new one-to-one client in January. And there's also a brand new, more affordable package. So if you've looked at working with me in the past, have a look again because the package is now more accessible than ever. So you can find more about that at ruthpoundwhite.com/mentoring. And I'm really excited about Play with Possibility. So get out there and play and let this month be magical. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Soulful Sales. If you have a moment to rate and review, know that it really does make a difference. And if you'd like to carry on the conversation, then you can connect with me on Instagram at Ruth Poundwhite, sign up to my newsletter at ruthpoundwhite.com/newsletter, or my personal favorite, join me inside the low ticket membership at ruthpoundwhite.com/membership. And keep doing what you're doing because your work really does matter.